Huawei is among the most valued Chinese companies and the one which has an empire fanning out in all directions. Besides claiming the number 2 in terms of smartphone sales worldwide, Huawei is among the leading suppliers for telecommunication equipment and a driving force in the adoption of 5G. But for certain reasons, the company has been under the gunsight of the Trump administration, which has repeatedly alleged that Huawei smartphones and telecom equipment are potentially being used for espionage. With escalating diplomatic tension between the two countries, President Trump declared a national emergency and passed an executive order to restrict companies in the US from supplying products to Huawei last week. While the Chinese giant claimed to have a decent stockpile of hardware goods and seemingly felt at ease even with these restrictions in place, a recent disclosure from Google puts Huawei's prominence in the market at stake. As part of the blacklisting by the government, Google has removed Huawei from the Android Partner Program, suggesting that the latter will no longer have access to proprietary apps and services from Google. Google is currently reviewing the implications of the executive order from the White House, but for now, Huawei will reportedly be unable to install Google Play service on the smartphones henceforth. The crackdown bars Huawei from applying for evaluation of devices under the Compatibility Test Suite (CTS), which any OEM must pass to be able to use the Android branding on its devices and provide services like the Google Play Store, YouTube, Google Search, Chrome, etc. out of the box. Users will not be able to just sideload APKs for these services because Google prohibits CTS unverified devices from running its apps. Besides Google Apps, all the others that use Google's APIs to facilitate login, for instance, will also be blocked on smartphones by Huawei and sub-brand Honor. For the existing Huawei devices, Google has confirmed the users will continue to be able to update apps through the Google Play Store. However, the blacklisting also prohibits Huawei and Honor from sending out newer updates to their smartphones, and if it does, it will be forced to remove Google Play services and Google Apps from the existing devices too. As a result of this ban, Huawei will not have access to the code for monthly Google security patches before the public release. Furthermore, Huawei and Honor can no longer be a member of the Android beta programs starting with the next commercial release of the Android, that is the Android R. If Huawei intends to move ahead with updates and brings users on board the Android R bandwagon, it will have to wait until the public release, which happens around August every year. Fundamentally, the only way Huawei can now continue using Android onto its smartphones is building its own custom version of Android using AOSP Android open source project code, exactly how developers of custom ROMs do. Unlike custom ROMs, however, Huawei might not be able to strap Google Apps along with the package without going unnoticed by Google. All in all, the situation is really bad for Huawei. The only plausible option it has for now is to either finally start rolling out its own operating system that it has reportedly been working on in the anticipation of the day when the US finally abstracts its usage of Android. That might be a challenging shift since most Huawei users are habitual of Android and the Google ecosystem. But so long as the operating system resembles Android in terms of experience and allows the installation of Google Apps, it should be useful. However, we haven't seen any previews yet, which means that it might not be ready for the use just yet. Alternatively, Huawei could continue to tinker with Android and use AOSP builds to continue providing EMUI updates. However, in that case, it will not be able to support Google Play services and other Google apps. This will limit the users to rely on Huawei's app gallery, which has a relatively smaller number of apps, and even though that wouldn't resolve the issue with Google Apps. Overall, the condition is really limiting for Huawei, essentially confining it to China, where Google services are already banned by law. This executive order crushes Huawei and Honor's presence not just in the US, but basically every market where devices are shipped with Google services pre-installed. Given that the US government already has a strict view of the company, we do not expect any relief in the coming months. Earlier, Huawei had also shared its plans to sue the US government, but a favorable decision may take several months or even years. After the report of Google limiting its software exchange with Huawei, American chip makers Qualcomm, Broadcom, Xilinx and Intel have announced that they will cede to the executive order by the US government and limit supplies to Huawei. Huawei is heavily dependent on US semiconductor products and will be seriously crippled without supply of key US components. Huawei does seem to have stockpiled enough chips to keep production going for the next 3 months. However, the ban may take longer to be lifted. Among the four chip makers, Intel, Huawei's primary supplier for chips used in its data centers. Additionally, Intel also provides processors for Huawei's MateBook series of laptops. Qualcomm sells its Snapdragon SoCs for various entry-level devices like the Honor 8C as well as some network chips. Qualcomm also licenses aptX codec for Bluetooth audio to Huawei. Meanwhile, Xilinx provides programmable chips for networking, while Broadcom supplies packet switching chips for telecom equipment. In all, there are more than 30 companies in the US considered as core suppliers by the company, and all of them are likely to follow the same route. Following the debacle, the Chinese company has officially shared a response on the matter. Here's how it goes. Huawei has made substantial contributions to the development and growth of Android around the world. As one of Android's key global partners, we have worked closely with their open source platform to develop an ecosystem that has benefited both the users and the industry. Huawei will continue to provide security updates and after-sales services to all the existing Huawei and Honor smartphone and tablet products, covering those have been sold or still in stock globally. We'll continue to build a safe and sustainable software ecosystem in order to provide the best experience for all the users globally. Barely 24 hours after the news broke that Google revoked Huawei's Android license, plunging the tech sphere into chaos, the US Commerce Department told that Huawei will be granted a temporary general license. This license, which lasts until August 19th, allows Huawei to maintain existing networks and provide software updates to existing Huawei handsets. The license does not allow US companies to work with Huawei on new products, however. To be clear, this temporary license only grants Huawei a reprieve from the US trade ban. We have yet to see if Google has temporarily restored Huawei's Android license, though that's likely going to happen given the alternative is chaos and uncertainty for hundreds of millions of Android users worldwide. If Huawei is once again allowed to become a GMS partner, then the company can proceed with releasing its planned updates on schedule. Although Huawei likely has much of its work already complete for the next EMUI version based on Android Q, it's unlikely the company will release the update if it cannot ship Google Play apps and services with the release. We'll have to wait and see what happens to Huawei up to August 19.